Guys, the founder and chairman of a company with 700,000 delivery workers just announced that every single one of them would be replaced by robots. Not 1%, not 50%, every single one of them would be replaced by robots. And we're not just talking in 50 years. It was a little bit vague, but this guy, 700,000 delivery workers are going to be replaced, quote, sooner or later. And the wild part, the crazy part about this is he's already spending billions of dollars to retrain them because he knows it's coming. This is not like, well, the regulation will slow it up. This is coming. It's coming very, very fast. If you drive, deliver, or if you move things for a living, consider this video your wake-up call. And for me, one of the kind of the most shocking parts or the most eye-opening part is the actual motion to retrain these workers that's already under place. So what's happening in this story? Well, Richard Liu is the founder and chairman of JD.com. And he said just recently that, quote, there will be no need for delivery workers. Robots will handle deliveries. I don't want our 700,000 employees left without jobs or income. And if you haven't heard of JD.com, it is China's largest retailer by revenue, and it is a massive B2C e-commerce company. Huge. Absolutely huge. And this is one of the first major employers who's actually put a number and kind of a timeline on this happening when it comes to job loss. And this is not just some Joe Schmo. This is a guy who's actually in the field working, developing the technology. And yeah, it's absolutely shocking. And by the way, we talked about this topic a few days ago on the channel and how autonomous vehicles are moving very rapidly. And I'll post a link to that video here. We give a bunch of examples of how autonomous vehicles are starting to show up. And quite frankly, you know, I'm here for it, is the short version. I don't like driving. I would much rather have my car drive me. And, you know, I mean, there's times where I'm like, yeah, let me hop in my car. Let me snap the clutch. If you've ever driven manual and you can actually feel the engine, like I like that. But like driving to the grocery store, I'd much rather just have my car drive me there. But in any event, this is a huge problem because there's so many people that rely on driving for an income. We're also going to talk about the last mile problem here as well, which I think is important. And this is, again, just a massive, massive story that's just nobody's talking about. You know, maybe it's because in America we feel like we're safe and it's not going to hit us. But listen, guys, in China, this is moving full steam ahead. And even in the United States, it's moving full steam ahead. And I'll give you some examples here in just a moment. Anyway, one of the things that's interesting about the story is, well, what do we do with all these drivers? And the plan that Richard from JD.com has is they're going to retrain 700,000 frontline workers via 120 partner schools and over 80 robo-based facilities. They are upskilling and retraining like crazy. And by the way, I think this is probably one of the most important times in history to be retraining. And I'll just give you a quick shout out to some guys that had partnered. They are not the sponsor of this video, but I've worked with the guys from CourseCareers to sponsor previous videos. I'll post a link to them below. They have really, really great trainings to a ton of different types of job positions. You get a 14-day free trial, very inexpensive. They aim to get you hired within 12 weeks. So anyway, I think now's a good time to be thinking about what am I going to do in the future. People even look at my videos and say, Mark, you're just a YouTuber. And I do more than just YouTube, but I'm in marketing. I'm in YouTube. Like these industries are being disrupted very, very heavily. So I do consider what am I going to do in the future. And again, I'll cover briefly what my plan is in this video, but let's just say that AI is a major component of it. Anyway, back to this retraining plan. 700,000 frontline workers to be retrained in 120 partner schools in over 80 robo-based facilities. And their goal is to convert 500,000 blue-collar workers into robot repair techs. Robot repair techs. So these guys who are currently driving these trucks and delivery vehicles, they're going to be repairing them. That's the plan. They also plan to move some of them to AI trainer positions. And, they plan on retraining 10,000 plus robot maintenance pros in the next 3 years. I mean, they're just doing a huge, huge upskilling program over there. It's a big deal. And, what's also, just to kind of take this a step further, there, the amount of retraining happening in China right now is shocking. It is shocking. There is this place called the Suqian, and this is the world's largest robot training ground. It mobilizes 600,000 people to capture 10 million hours of real-world behavior data to train the robots to replace them. They like, China to me is really kind of come to grips and accepted that AI and robotics are happening. Like, the reality is, like, you can love it or hate it. I definitely, guys, listen. If I could go back to the 90s, where everything was happening in person and we hung out at the mall, we were playing basketball, like, I could go back to that. I could dig that, but that's not the world that we live in these days. We are living in the Jetsons, boys. This is the Jetsons. Flying cars, robots, AI. It is here. It is here. Anyway, warehouse automation was expected. But what has been kind of an issue, and one of the guys, one of our fellow fans here in the comments, by the way, if you leave a great comment, I will pin your comment. I've done it in the past. I'll do it in the future. So leave a great comment if you have an insight or if you have any feedback on this. But one of the gentlemen in the channel who is a semi-truck driver, long-range driver, said that there's a problem. It's called the last mile problem. And what that means is that, well, the automation is good, the robots are good on the freeway, but once they get into tight corners in the cities, they fall apart. Guys, that is not what's happening with JD.com. JD.com, Mr. Liu, they seem very confident that that these robots are going to be able to operate very well within cities. And, with this, I don't think he's far off, guys. Waymos, robo-taxis, there are a lot of autonomous vehicles already operating within cities. Now, semi-trucks and huge delivery freight, it's a little bit different, but I don't think we're that far off. It also kind of, one of the things that's been interesting over the past years, there's been a lot of stories about illegal immigrants operating semi-trucks and, getting into bad accidents and killing people. And I do kind of wonder for a second, is this a psyop? Is this a psyop? Not, at the time you think it's like, well, we want to be against all this illegal immigration, which, by the way, you should come legally, you should, pay your taxes. I'm not going to get into illegal immigration. But what I will say is that if you wanted to kind of get people to accept autonomous vehicles, you should be highlighting all these terrible stories all the time. So I wonder if this is a little bit of a psyop to get us moving more quickly. I don't know. What do you think? Put it in the comments below. But here's the thing, guys. This is not just China that's going to be replacing all of these delivery drivers. This is already happening in the United States. Starship out of San Francisco has already done 10 million autonomous deliveries. 10 million autonomous deliveries already happened here in the States. Amazon already has autonomous delivery in over 35 metros. Neuro has over 600 autonomous vans. Mutine, JD, Neolix, which is over in China, they have 3,000 vehicles in China. And by the way, McKinsey Consulting, which is probably going to be completely replaced by AI pretty soon, or at least a lot of their consultants, but McKinsey frames this, by up to 2030, probably 14% of workers are probably going to need to switch occupations, which, by the way, if I'm 43, the idea of switching occupations for a lot of guys is kind of a scary thing. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. But that's the reality that we are living in. So who's going to be the most exposed as these autonomous vehicles, these deliveries, and these huge predictions like 700,000 workers needing to be reskilled? Well, who's most exposed are going to be couriers, drivers, anyone that's in a warehouse. These jobs are completely cooked, boys. They're completely cooked. I don't know when it's going to happen, whether it's going to be 1 year or 5 years, but I don't know. They're going to be cooked, and the offer is going to be, well, you're fired, but the government's going to pay for your bread. Until eventually the government runs out of money to pay for bread. We covered this in a story earlier this year, was when the government went on a hiatus. They couldn't agree on something, so they went on break. The government shut down. People couldn't get their SNAP benefits. Guys, if you're a father, husband, if you're responsible for that, you can't rely on government SNAP benefits. Not to mention the thing that people don't talk about. which is that men need purpose. And if you're just sitting on the couch, drinking beer, watching the FIFA World Cup, which is actually not the worst way to live, but you can't do that every day because you lose your purpose, you lose your meaning, you lose the respect of your wife, you lose respect for yourself. You don't want that. I don't want that. We need to have some sort of value that we can bring to this world. Find that purpose. And the idea that, well, I'll get laid off, but UBI will take care of. I think that that's one of those things that, like, it sounds good in the moment, but after you're a couple weeks in, you're like, oh, I have nothing to live for. I have nothing to do. I don't think that's a good thing. The honest take here, guys, though, is that retraining sounds nice, but 700,000 people retrained. We don't know what the future of this world is going to look like. We don't know the problems that are going to need to be solved. So again, you're kind of in a situation now where you need to start looking for different and interesting problems to solve now. You need to be building up side incomes and side hustles and different ways to find different ways to be valuable. Predict. The problems of the past are not going to be the problems of the future, because robots are going to solve a lot of the old problems of the past, but they're going to create a lot of new problems. So where are those new problems? Where can you fit in? Right? For me, I'm big on YouTube. It's one of my favorite things to do. And this channel's blown up thanks to guys like you. And so I built out a program to help people build out their YouTube and use AI to do that. Not because I'm speaking to you with AI, but I use a lot of AI to facilitate the channel and to do analysis and stuff like that. So anyway, I digress. Guys. Solve new problems, because the reality is that if you're if you use a car to deliver, that career is going to be cooked. Very, very skilled. Skill to survive, robot maintenance, oversight, anything that supervises the automation rather than competes with it. And I want to leave you on this final note, which, by the way, if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. Fresh videos 6 days a week. There is this belief that robots and automation are going to be able to do everything that a human can do. That has not been my experience. And in fact, companies like Meta, link to the video here, found that, you know what? We maybe made a mistake. We maybe fired too many people too quickly. They're going to hire people back. And, so just stay loose, stay vivid. And if you want more information, go check out yesterday's video where we talk about the people that are getting hired back and the skills that are valuable right now, because there's some things that you might not necessarily expect. So check out yesterday's video. I appreciate you guys. Love you. Make it great. Happy summer. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.